Yo, what's going on, guys? Rhys here from More Than Lifting with the More Than Lifting podcast. Conversations about calisthenics, bodyweight training, gymnastics, all that good stuff. I'm Rhys, a personal trainer from the UK and founder of morethanlifting.com, and in this episode we're going to be talking about whether or not you should be going to dead hang in your reps. Okay, this is quite a heavily discussed topic in the general fitness community, especially when it comes to things like pull-ups and hanging exercises, because that's the only time really you gotta hang, I guess. But I explicitly say quite often you should be going to dead hang in your reps. You should be actively working on engaging and disengaging your shoulders between your reps. All right, and there's a reason I do that, obviously, because, well, actually, that's what we're gonna get into. So, like I say, this is a heavily debated topic. It's quite. I guess people could probably be quite extreme about it because it can be said that it's dangerous to completely relax your muscles, and because of various reasons, and we're going to go into that. But first off, what is dead hang? So the dead hang is like a passive hang, which is where you're hanging from the bars and your shoulders, your body is completely relaxed. So like your shoulders aren't engaged. Your delts will be right up in your ears. They're the big round bits on the top of your arms. They'll be right up in your ears, and basically your shoulders aren't active. You aren't engaged, so it's a passive position because everything's relaxed. All right, and what I say, this is like the bottom of every exercise. Every hanging exercise is this passive hang, this dead hang position. Then the next step is to then activate your shoulders and draw your shoulders back so you square them off and pull them into position ready for you to do the rep. All right, and from there you can pull up nice and clean and make sure your shoulders are in the right position for you to actually do the movement, because in that full dead hang, in that passive hang, you're not ready to do any moving because your shoulders aren't in the right place for your muscles to activate properly. And a lot of the time people actually hurt themselves doing like pull-ups without activating their shoulders properly, and so it can be a big problem just generally for people. So it's really important that we actually cover this anyway, because I haven't really spoken about it much, I don't think, and it's quite important that it gets discussed. So why is it a thing? So like I just said, it's this whole discussion happens because of the question of whether or not it's dangerous for you to do this. And someone reached out to me actually via email not too long ago and asked about this, and I thought it'd be a great time to actually cover it in the podcast just so I can get it out for everyone to listen to, because it's because I don't want you hurting yourself, and I don't want you to think that I'm encouraging anyone to do anything dangerous as well, because obviously that's not the case. But if you understand the reasoning behind it, then you can understand where I'm coming from and actually not put yourself in a position where you could injure yourself, because that's bad times. So why people say then you shouldn't go to a full dead hang. All right, this is because it can damage you, like jolting your joints about, like coming down swinging, and just like instead of keeping your shoulders active, you just jolt them down and like return to your dead hang. So it's almost like you're encouraging that, because you're not keeping your shoulders active while you're doing your rep. You're not maintaining that position, keeping everything in that safe position to move. All right, so this puts a lot of stress on your shoulders, but particularly your joints, like because it's not being supported by all your muscles. This puts like all the weights just going like pulling on your joints. It's like pulling on shoelaces. Do you know what I mean? At some point something bad's going to happen, like probably shoelaces will snap. So like it's whether or not you should keep instead a lot of people suggest that you should keep your shoulders active the whole time that you're doing your reps, so throughout the whole set. All right, and that's fine, you can do that. There's in fact it's better if you do that. If you're doing something like your mini reps, your shoulders are going to be tight the whole time. They are going to be active the whole time. All right, but why I actually say that you should go to the dead hang is mostly about discipline. All right, because going into the dead hang or passive hang isn't dangerous in and of itself. Like just being in that position isn't dangerous. It's when you're in that position and trying to pull, trying to lever about, and trying to change what your shoulders are up to, activate all those muscles when your shoulders aren't in the right position to be moving. All right, so that's why it's actually, that's why it can be dangerous. So discipline, as I say, every time you do your rep, you're going to be actively engaging your shoulders. So it's going to be at the front of your mind every time you do your rep. So the idea in doing this is that you're getting all the strength, mobility, the stability bonuses from doing these things, just from doing things like a scapular pull-up. You know, a scapular pull-up isn't dangerous to do that. In fact, it's a really good exercise you should be doing. So instead of thinking about it of like just relaxing all your muscles like on your negative and going straight into a dead hang, because that will cause problems. So don't do that. Instead, what I get people to do is do the negative controlled with all your muscles activated. So you go until your arm's completely straight. So that means only your shoulders then are active, and you can relax your shoulders. Okay, this doesn't put any stress on joints. In fact, it's isolating that. It's gonna like exponentially improve the benefits of doing things like your scapular pulls, because you're essentially doing a scapular pull every rep that you do in your pull-up, every rep that you do in your leg raise, every rep that you do in your tucks, your levers, your anything. All right, and that's just like bonus points if you think about it like that. All right, like I said, this gives you the strength, this gives you the mobility and the stability in your shoulders as well that you need for other exercises. So it's really good if you're doing this, as long as you're doing it properly and you're not swinging about and hurting yourself. It's about slower reps, all right, because you have to concentrate on it to think about it every rep. Okay, you can't just go bounce up and down because then you're not going to straighten your arms, release your shoulders, activate your shoulders again, and then pull up. Yeah, so what it makes you do is actually slow your reps down, which gives you the bonus benefit of an increased time under tension. And because a pull or something like that is such a like a compound exercise, it uses like almost half of your upper body, or even more, you're going to be increasing the time under tension for all of those muscles, everything. So everything gets worked harder by doing this as well, by slowing your reps down. So that's another bonus thing. So then the next one is it helps minimize swinging as well, because when you're doing things like your leg raises, it's easy to end up swinging around with your legs, because if you're lifting your legs so fast and then relaxing your hips almost and swinging them back down, it's like almost, it just ends up with this kind of pendulous thing where you're back and forth loads. And what's that? That's actually not working you as much. That's just keeping and swinging about in the monkey bars, you know what I mean? Like, that's not training. Well, it is, but it's not as good as doing it with discipline, slower and with control. So that's why you don't want to swing anyway. And this helps you minimize swinging, because it helps you come all the way down and then relax your shoulders. So instead of doing this kind of swinging, oscillating movement, you change that into a vertical movement as you relax and straighten up. So it helps counteract any swinging that you've done each rep. So it helps slow the amount of swinging that you do and helps you almost start fresh every time you do your leg raise or other exercise like that. Think like German hangs, if you're doing them for reps, like it's easy to end up swinging like that, the amount of turning you do and twisting. So and then the next thing is that the last thing is that it helps to encourage your max range of motion. So it helps you actually move further, because if you're not straightening your arms and going to a passive hang, then you're not moving as far when you're doing things like your pulls. So if you're not going to straight arm to dead hang each rep, then it's easier to not go there at all. So what happens is your shoulders stay active. You don't come all the way down in your reps. You only come down like so far and you spring back up again. So you're not getting the full benefit of each rep anyway, as we've spoken about in the episode where I talked about why range of motion matters. So there's another reason that you should be doing it, okay? But like I said, you need to be doing it properly. You need to be doing it safely so that it isn't going to be causing any problems. And as long as you follow the steps, then that's never going to be an issue. As long as you activate your shoulders, you isolate that part of each rep. So you go to your straight arm and relax at the end of your rep, and you keep straight arm, you activate your shoulders, and then do your reps. So then you will never have any problems with that. So you don't really need to worry. I keep saying, oh, you need to be careful, but as long as you're doing it like that and not just swinging in and jolting and putting any stress on by relaxing and putting dead weight on your joints, then that's all right. Right, so then, like I said, I've mentioned it loads, right, but I'm going to cover it again, just how to actually go to dead hang safely. So the first one is to progress your reps. So one of the main progression exercises for dynamic reps is mini reps, half reps, which is what a lot of people do in the gym when you see people doing pull-ups and dips anyway, all right, but this is actually done for a reason, as a progression to the full range of motion of your exercise. So your mini reps, right, are just where you sit like halfway and then you bounce up and down and up and down. So you only work within about half of the range of movement that you have available to you to do your pulls. All right, this helps you just work your rep count, so you get used to actually doing a lot more reps, if you like, even though you're not doing full reps, and this will help you paired up with something like your negatives, where you are doing your full range of motion, because you're going right from the top, slowly down to straight arm, and then disengaging your shoulders, relaxing your shoulders. So, but what you do is you don't just go straight into straight arm, because it's harder for a start to isolate that part every rep, so you don't do it straight away. Instead, you progress to the dead hang. So you do your mini reps, you get good with your mini reps, and then you slowly increase that range of motion. You work it from the other side with the scapulars, so you work with your scapular exercises as well, which is why we do them in the first place, is to build that shoulder mobility and strength. And and you progress to your straight arm. So at first you're coming down to like halfway or whatever, and you're coming down to like 3/4 of the way, and then eventually you go into straight arm. Maybe you still keep your shoulders tight for a rep or two, and then you finally relax, and then you start doing sets like that and start working with it. And if you're struggling in the middle of your set because you've only just started doing it, then only do it for the first 3 or 4, and then for the rest of your set just sit a little bit higher and get used to doing the reps, because the reps are obviously good. If you're only doing something that you're going to do 3 reps of, then do a slightly easier variation on the tail of it that you can carry on doing in one go. So maybe this wouldn't work for negatives so much, but with your mini reps, it's absolutely fine. All right, so that's it then. How to go to dead hang. Should you go to dead hang in your reps? Absolutely yes. But you've got to make sure you're doing it right. You've got to make sure you're doing it safely, and you've got to be doing it for the right reasons. So it's got to be in the forefront of your mind why you're doing this as well. Otherwise, A, you won't, and B, you'll end up thinking that you're going to hurt yourself doing something that actually is safe if you're doing it right. All right, guys, that's it for this episode. If you like what you heard, as always, give us a subscribe, like, rate, review, honest 5 stars, obviously, wink wink. And if you've got any questions, reach out to me at More Than Lifting everywhere. Best place is just to give me a DM on Instagram, and we can have a chat. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the next episode. And as always, keep in touch with yourselves, and I'll see you then.